Yes, people, welcome back to Premzy TV, episode 5 of Premier League Unpacked with my guy Bish. What you telling me? You good?
What's good, people? I am better than ever, boy. You know how I am after
You
this
are.
weekend. Feeling good. Yeah. No, it was a good weekend for many reasons, but yeah, feels good to be back on live on
Yeah.
the stream and ready to speak to the people. Then
We had a little catch up over the weekend. Obviously, I came down on Sunday to do the watch along at AFTV, and obviously, guys, if you don't know, Tom's obviously moved down to London himself. So we had a little catch up then, and it was a good little catch up. Managed to catch the end bit of the derby. To be fair, I managed to kick. What did I get there? About the last 40 minutes. I managed to catch it, something like that. But
yeah.
I think there's no place other to start than the disaster of Manchester United and the derby.
I mean, one man's disaster is another man's dream. You know what I mean? It was a great game for us. It was a good game to watch, but yeah, I think things just unravelled a little bit for United at the end, didn't they? Probably about the time that you arrived. I don't know if you had anything to say for that, but man said, "Where's the umbongo juice?"
If anybody don't know what that is the Maggie. So that's the
Magnet.
Maggie. Obviously, that's Big Steve who's made that name up. So obviously, when me Big Steve came up to go and watch the Arsenal City game, he was drinking the Maggies. Obviously, he didn't know what it was.
He weren't familiar. He didn't know about the Magnet.
I told him a few tricks about the Maggies.
Yeah. And he
gave him a few tricks.
Gave him the bongo. Okay. Yeah.
Get it? So now he's calling it umbongo juice. So, I think he's running though. It's pretty funny, to be fair. But yeah, man, I think City just showed their class against United, and I think a battering was due. To be honest with you, I think I haven't really seen City hammer anyone in like the last few games, and that's something that's unseen for a Pep side. So I knew that a beating was coming. I just didn't think it was going to be like a 4-1. I thought maybe like a 3-0, something like that, because a derby normally is tight. But what do you make of it? What did you make of the game?
It was a good game to watch, to be fair. Like, if I slipped out of my City mode to just be in a neutral, I think even for a neutral, it was probably a good game to watch, because the first half was pretty competitive. I mean, I feel like some of the pundits and commentators were getting a bit carried away when they were saying it was even. I still feel like City seemed like the stronger side, but United were counter-punching well, and the Sancho goal was a class goal, well worked. And when he scored that goal, I thought, okay, maybe they have got something about them. Maybe they have come with a bit of a strategy, and maybe there's going to be a bit of a lock for us to pick here. But so I think from that point of view, it was probably good for a neutral, and good for everyone involved. Second half obviously was fun to watch, more fun to watch as a City fan than a United fan probably. But again, I think it was probably good for the neutral, just because the quality of football from City was so good. We just kind of stepped up the gears and pulled away from them, and it's hard to know today whether we spend more time kind of focusing on how good City were, but we've kind of come to expect that from City. So naturally, a lot of the talk has been about how bad United were. Which in a way does a bit of a disservice to the quality of Mahrez, Grealish, Foden, players all over the pitch for City, because we end up dwelling a bit more on how things have gone wrong for United. But even myself kind of left that game thinking, yeah, I've been right with what I've been saying in recent weeks, which is the problems over there are so deeply entrenched, and it's such a toxic situation. I mean, I don't know if they're in a much better position than they were coming out of that David Moyes kind of era, however many years ago. I think they've got pretty much a total rebuild squad-wise that's going to be on the horizon, because they're going to have to shed a lot of players, a lot of egos. I think management-wise, strategically, footballing identity is all over the place. That's before we even get into the problems that they got with the structure. A couple of people saying their piece talking about United giving up. I think Roy Keane and Neville and a few of them kind of drew on that after the game, and that again reflects some deeper, darker problems at the club when guys are just giving up and not even running in a derby. So that's unacceptable.
Do you not think they approached the game a little bit wrong though as well, with playing like Bruno and as Saeed would say, Pog boom up front. Like, tried to copy Spurs a little bit in a sense, and I think it backfired because obviously Spurs had Son, who's a fast player. Obviously, I think they tried to use that through Elanga, but having Pogba and Bruno up front, for me, I think that was a wrong decision. I don't think they went to City with the right tactics. I thought they'll flood out the midfield and then try to hit them on the counter from the way they set the team up. Do you think that was right?
It looked like it was kind of working the first 40 minutes. I won't say working in the sense of like in any kind of magical way, because like I say, City was probably still just about edging it, but it made some sense while it was working. Like I say, it's difficult. I think we can, it would be good to talk about some of the tactical decisions that were made, some of the substitutions that were made. But for me, the big takeaway from this game, and it's what I've been saying to United fans and about United of late, is that things are so messed up over there. Things have got so bad on such a DNA level at the club that it almost doesn't matter what the tactics were. It almost doesn't matter what the formation was. I know that sounds crazy because this is football, and obviously formations, players obviously are going to have a massive effect on what happens on the pitch. But, players not running, players not trying, players, Ronaldo not turning up. We don't know, there's hearsay afterwards that actually he was fit, and Cavani supposedly say all of that stuff. That's nothing to do with tactics. That's nothing to do with formations. And not only does that mean you're a few players short, but the players in the dressing room will have known that that's going on, and that kind of feeds into where their mentality's at, where their efforts at. And then, of course, there was a gulf in quality. I mean, you look at Ederson's distribution throughout the game, which wasn't anything special. It wasn't a major kind of point in the game. But then you look at De Gea, and you look at how many of the goals or big chances kind of came from United being pressured, pushed back to De Gea, and then his inability to kind of distribute the ball to anywhere, kind of even safe, never mind, kind of meaningfully. Push forwards. There was a lot of players around the pitch where you just think that either players that aren't good enough, or players who there's issues with the attitude and issues with the mentality, which is why I say that even if this is a better squad player for player than the team that Moyes had at United, and even if Rangnick is a better manager than Moyes was, which is up for question, I feel like they're in a similar position, because I feel like they are pretty much going to have to go into a rebuild again.
No, definitely, man. Definitely. I think, see, with United as well, like, I feel like they're in a worse off position where they was with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Even though Ralph's only lost 2 games since he's been here, it just looks like the morale, it looks like everything's in turmoil at United, where when Ole was there, it didn't look like that much was in turmoil. Yeah, it was just more like the tactics on the pitch and the style of football that he was playing, and some of the decisions that he was playing with the starting lineup and stuff like that. But right now, it looks like they're in an absolute mess, and I just wonder, was that the right decision, sacking, Ole and going in for a Rangnick? I know he's going to be moving up and stuff like that, but they had the opportunity there to go and grab Conte before Tottenham did, and maybe Conte, he'd done his press conference and he was saying in there he don't like really talking about top 4 because his ambitions is to win stuff. And to be honest with you, people like that, with mindsets like that, they succeed. And I'm very surprised that United didn't go in for Conte.
Well, one thing that I've said a few times in recent weeks is we don't know for certain that they didn't go in for Conte. I know we always assume that him ending up at Tottenham means that Arsenal didn't want him, means that United didn't want him, but we don't know that for certain. We don't know that Conte didn't look at that situation over there, look at the players, the egos, personalities, and think, you might have had the experience and the foresight to know that's not a good place for me to be, at least not right now. Do you know what I mean?
But I think if Conte was linked to United, I think we'll know. Trust me, United's that club that when somebody is linked to them, especially of high profile, look at Ronaldo, man.
But for someone to be linked, there might have to have been some kind of mutual interest. For all we know, they might have approached, Conte's agent or Conte's people, and they might have said, "No chance, not interested, not right now." Wouldn't come. Like I'm just speculating. We don't know. Like you say, maybe
I can't see why United wouldn't get Conte over Tottenham though, like because the one thing
Yeah,
about
you say
United,
this, but you say
you know
this
they're
every
going to
week.
spend the money in it. You know United are going to spend the money, and the one
You
thing
say
about
this every, yeah,
spend the money.
you say this every week, and I feel like that's partly because you just want to take any opportunity to shit on Tottenham, which is fair enough. You know, you just want to act like they're just some nobody, nothing team, and anyone will go to anywhere other than them. But what I'm trying to say to you is that I think that Conte, with the experience he has, with the amount of players, egos he's dealt with his understanding of what it takes to have a formula for success. Because in a minute we can get on to talking about spending money and the amount of money United have spent in the last 10 years and the returns they've got for it, and have a real conversation about spending money and what it equates to today in football and whether it does buy success. Because I know people like to throw that at City, you know, but we'll double back to that. But yeah, I don't think it's totally.
Don't try to just touch on that and get off quickly.
No. We'll go back. We'll go back to it. I just wanted to land on my point, which is I feel like I don't think it's totally far fetched to think that Conte could have looked at that situation, seen either have heard and known of things behind the scenes that we don't know, or even just seeing it like we can see. That the egos all over the place. There's problems within the camp. There's Ronaldo making decisions, undermining matters. There's issues all over, and he might have just thought, money or no money, big club or no big club. That's as we've been saying, that's a toxic, as someone had said in the comments, as P said in the comments, rotten, broken situation, and it's not a good place to be right now. I don't think that that's totally far fetched. Now, to double back to the money thing. Another thing I've been thinking over the last few days is I can only thank United, you know, and the United board and the United managers for going out there and spending, you know, as much as City have spent in the last 5 or 10 years, because it made our success that bit sweeter, because it's almost like a pre-prepared rebuttal to anyone that wants to say, "Oh, City, they're just buying everything. Money buys trophies, everything." Because money is a key factor today in being successful at the top level. Let's not get it confused. I'm not saying that you can be where City are at without the money. Nobody's saying that. But the money alone does not equate to trophies, and we're seeing that with United.
I do agree.
We're seeing that with United. So every now and then you hear these people that don't know nothing about football saying, "Oh, Pep Guardiola is not even that good. Anyone could win all them trophies with all that money." Well, we've seen that's not the case, because United have run through managers like boxers, and they've spent over $1 billion. I think it's 1.3 billion they've spent in the last 10 years. That squad there is meant to have been composed of over X amount of hundreds of millions of players. And it's not got bought them nothing. So I think we are in an interesting place today with football where, yes, you need money to compete at the top. But because there's enough clubs at the top now with money alone isn't going to do it. You have to have money, then you have to have a top manager, and then you have to have things, and then you have to have a good structure in place. Exactly.
I hear you, Tom. Like, I don't disagree with anything you're saying, bro, but I just also believe, like, City, without their money, they wouldn't have the structure. They wouldn't have. So that is the fundamental value. Obviously, with United, as kids growing up, we're used to seeing United spend money regardless of things. The difference is the reason they're not winning now is because obviously we know it. Their greatest of all manager, Alex Ferguson, left. And when he did leave, he left the club in a state with the players that weren't really great. You get me? Even though they won the Premier League, we would look at it and everyone around, pundits, fans, they're thinking, right, how's he won the league with them players? You know what I mean? Phil Jones and all that. So you've got to understand where United is. Obviously, they have gone through a process of trying everything in a sense. You know, they gone with Moyes. They went with the next Scottish guy, tried to replicate Fergie. Didn't work out. Went in for Van Gaal, top class manager. Didn't work out. Went in for Mourinho at the time, top class manager. Didn't work out. They thought, right, okay, we'll change it around a little bit. Go in with Ollie, a club legend, somebody that knows the club, knows the values of the club. And then obviously it just didn't work out. They did hang on to him for like 3 years and try. Now, because of fan pressure and stuff like that, Ollie's obviously got the chop. And now they're thinking, this is the 6 months where I think they're thinking really which direction to go in. And that's why Ragnick's there at the moment. So even though a lot of money has been spent, you got to understand it's being spent through loads of different hands, loads of different managers. It's where, with City, it's being spent. But in the time it's being spent, you know, over the last 5 years under Pep, it's being spent consistently under the same person. you know what I mean, the same structure, you know, same idea, same philosophy. So it is more likely for City's machine to be more oiled anyway. You get me?
100%.
So trust me, money does talk in the game, because if once United do get certain things back into place, it's inevitable for them to start challenging again, because they've got the financial power to do so. And trust me, because God knows.
Yes, there's truth in what you're saying. The flip side is that there's money. That there's a lot of other teams. There's a growing amount of teams that have got money to compete. So if Newcastle can position themselves in the next 4 to 5 years to have the structure right, to be in and around the top 4, then all of a sudden we're going into the summer transfer window, and United and Newcastle have got the same target, and now you ain't got the money to overspend and overpower another club. So yes, United are a massive club. Yes, they've got a lot of money, and they will continue to have a lot of money to spend, both because of the level of the size of the club and because of the ownership and, you know, the rest. But I think the inevitability side, I think that's almost part of the problem. That's one of lots of problems at United, is that there's almost this entitlement, this assumption that because we're United, because we've got the players, because we've got the 80,000 seat stadium, because we've got the name, because we've got the trophy cabinet, that it will happen, and it's just a sooner or later thing. And it means that they get ahead of themselves whenever things look like they might be on the verge of something, and they almost have almost like the opposite of City fans. City fans, we have this disposition even to this day to be pessimistic, because for most of our lives, for most of us of my age or older, we witnessed us always letting you down. So for a lot of City fans today, you speak to my pops, my brother, you know, when I chat to them certain times, you know, I'm not as watching every game, going to every game anymore. So I'm not as emotionally invested. So I'll be a bit more objective and be like, oh yeah, we should win that game against whoever it is. They'll be always like, oh no, we're gonna blow it. We'll flipping, we'll defo flipping throw this away, like as if to say we're still the City of old. United are almost the opposite. Do you know what I mean? United are they almost have this unjustified optimism of like every situation, every new manager, every new player, the gas wagon comes out. Do you know what I mean? Oh, this Ragnick guy is 30, whatever, whoever he is. Do you know what I mean? And setting the expectation there again, and then it keeps falling down and failing, and you know, money gets thrown after, you know, each, like you said, each manager's been given dough to throw at it, because it's almost like every manager, there's some back of the mind feeling that this guy might be able to do it. This guy might be able to take us back to win the league.
They need a clear out, you know.
They do, but they did a clear out. They slowly built through a few managers and through X amount of years and through hundreds of millions of pounds worth of players, and now they're back to needing a clear out. And this is why, you know, later we'll get onto Arsenal, and I don't want us to jump around too much this week, but you know, this is where there is a contrast with how Arsenal have kind of been doing things in recent years. And, you know, there is something to be said for a club like Arsenal, who kind of find themselves in a similar transition to United over this kind of 5, 10, 15-year period, to say, almost do things the opposite of how United are doing it. Try and avoid making the mistakes they're doing. Try and avoid whatever Arsenal seem to build at the moment. Try and avoid the situation where in 2-3 years' time, you're having to do a clear out and reset and totally rebuild again. Because then you're back at the start. Do you know what I mean? And however many hundreds of millions.
Problem is we needed a clear out like through 4 years into the end of Wenger's reign, bro, and it just wasn't happening. Obviously, the problem with us is obviously financially we don't ever spend the money that we should really spend in it. That's what it is. Obviously, over this season we've spent 150 mil, and you know, I can't lie, the signings that have come in, Aaron Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, you know, Odegaard, obviously becoming a revelation now. So you can't say that I can't lie and say that some of the business that's come in I'm not happy about, but I just see certain opportunities, certain missed opportunities within obviously the Arsenal board, and I just put that down to inexperienced. And it's just the truth. Like I state facts in it. Like Edu's inexperienced, Arteta's inexperienced, Vinay's inexperienced. The owner don't even really show his face at the club, bro. So really, what we're doing as fans is putting our hope and all our eggs in the basket for Arteta running the club. In a sense where we had like Wenger running the club, but it wasn't just Wenger at the time. We had Dean and stuff like that. But I just see it as I'm happy that we're winning. I'm happy that progression is
Yeah.
getting made in the sense that we're looking like we're in the fight for the top 4 and we're in pole position with as the table stands. We just got to just keep our feet on the floor and hold on, because it's easy to get boosted up and then just get shot down, because that's a habit of Arsenal. You get me, bro?
It's true. I triggered you. I meant to just touch on Arsenal and move on, but it was inevitable.
We're just going on to United, Tom. I just want to say the
on.
mentality of them is proper fucked. You know why? Because when a team has got 92% possession in a derby in the last 15 minutes, bro, that is a write-off. That just shows you people have put their head down, and it's a mad thing. What's the
that's
which project is most appealing for the players in the transfer market? I'm guessing the manager for each team is going to be the decisive factor for players moving as well. It has a massive help. That is true. You get me?
So true. I mean, I think so. Just also, you kind of touched on before about whether Ollie left too soon, and we didn't really address that question of was it the right decision for him to go. I think we said when we were together on the weekend that it feels like to us like Ranić was like they were kind of trying to sell a story with Ranić. We're getting Ranić in because he's going to become the director of football, and we want him to have some months on the touchline and get a feel for the players. And for me, that's just them trying to make the most out of a desperate situation. Do you know what I mean? We all do it in life. We've got something that wouldn't have been our first choice, or we don't have the options we want in a certain situation. So we try and make a narrative around it to try and make it feel like it makes sense to the fans or to other people. I think that was partly trying to remove any expectation and kind of be like, well, even if we're trash for the rest of the season, it'll be worth it because then Ranić will have the insights he needs to go on X, Y, Z. I think it was about being able to get someone in that everyone knew wasn't going to be staying on, so they could buy more time to figure out what they're doing. But that just reveals or highlights the fact that they don't know what they were doing. I don't think they were expecting to have to get rid of Ollie midway through the season. I think that they probably had a project a bit like United with Arteta to kind of build something a bit more long term. And if they were going to get rid of Ollie, I think they were going to try and build something off the back of that. People saying Ollie didn't leave soon enough. I mean, that's an argument as well. I think you either had to get rid of him sooner or had to keep him to the end of the year, because I think what's happened is he's left at a time when clearly the problems ran deeper than the manager, and all it's done is it's kind of poured petrol on the fire, and things have just got worse and worse for me. Yeah, I know some United fans. I think Deep was saying to us, and Kish when we was in the car that day was saying, that strategically and tactically there are some things to like about what Ranić's doing, and you're starting to see someone that looks like they've got some knowledge and insight, which you didn't feel like they had before with Ollie. If we're talking about results, if we're talking about morale, if we're talking about performances, that derby yesterday or yesterday now was it? In fairness to Ollie, one thing that he did do while he was there is he showed out for the derbies. He had a good record at the Etihad. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
And it ended. And I'd like to think that he would have put that United team. That things wouldn't have fallen apart quite as badly as they did at the end of that game under Ollie. Maybe that's not necessarily even because of anything Ollie would have done, but I think Ollie going was the straw that broke the camel's back in a lot of ways.
Here's Billy, Tom.
Seeing Rashford not running was
Here's Billy. You remember Billy? This is Billy, the Arsenal fan that comes on the streams with me sometimes as well.
Yeah.
But, he's got a valid point here. Personally, I think United missed the trick by not giving David Moyes more time. You look at how he's got West Ham competing for the top 4. With United, he could have done even better with more money. That's a valid point, to be honest with you.
I like Moyes, and I liked Moyes. I don't think Moyes, in some ways, I don't think maybe Moyes was the right. I don't think it was necessarily the right time for Moyes there. Like you said, I think that what people were believing, or what United fans were being led to believe, was that the United team that was being inherited from Fergie was good enough to compete for titles because he competed for titles with it. When in reality, the reality was Fergie's gone. This team's already not good enough, but without Fergie, it's definitely not good enough. and we need someone that's going to come in and help to start a reset. I don't think Moyes is the guy for that. I don't think Moyes was the guy to come in and build a whole new footballing philosophy. You know, we talk about or to even to continue the Fergie philosophy. And I think the Fergie philosophy, one, it was quite unique to Fergie. And two, I think it was starting to run its time anyway. It was running its course. The game was evolving. You know, we've seen that even at the latter years of Fergie's career. So it's not like a City and Pep where I've said before that I feel like City will, if Pep does move on, will be looking for somebody that can come in and just business as usual. You know, United needed someone that was going to come in with an identity, with an idea, with a plan, and was going to start to build something kind of from the ground up. I don't know if Moyes was the guy for that. Then I think that they started to see that when they brought Van Gaal in, and they thought, all right, we're going to get this Dutch guy in and bring in the Dutch philosophy. You know, it all sounds very similar to the stuff they're saying now with Rangnick. I don't want to make like daft comparisons just because they're both Dutch, but I do think that there is a bit of this, oh, you know, they're going to bring the Dutch way, they're going to bring the Ajax system, they're going to bring what Cruyff did at Barcelona before Pep got there. Like, there's a bit of a romanticizing of, you know, these Dutch managers being able to come in and give you a whole new brand and philosophy. And, you know, it didn't work out with Van Gaal. You know, kind of jumped back to like an impact manager in Mourinho. You know, I don't think that they really wanted Mourinho to build something. They didn't give him the time or the money to really build something. They wanted someone that was going to come in and have impact and win trophies. And he did have an impact, to be fair, but obviously that went where it went. So it's kind of just been yo-yoing between are we trying to rebuild and build something long with a plan, or are we just trying to move for the now and get impact and win trophies? And, you know, and it's like they don't really know where they're at and what they need to do next. And until they figure that out, you know, I think they have to accept now that the hope they had last summer, before Ronaldo came in. And that's another thing I want to ask you about Ronaldo. Every game and every week that goes by, I'm starting to think that might be one of the worst signings in Premier League history. For a player to come in and not only not be like a positive impact, but to be such a negative impact. You know,
no, I wouldn't say the worst signings. You know, we've had man like Yaya Sanogo and all of that. So
no, but listen to what I'm saying. When Yaya Sanogo came in, he didn't make
you're talking about the whole situation.
I'm talking about negative impact. Yaya Sanogo didn't come in and start making bare other guys on the team start playing worse and the manager leaving.
But obviously, as well, you got to understand as well. It comes down to the team as well. Like, I don't think it's just fair throwing it all on Ronaldo as well, because I know you don't like United and that, so you're throwing it all on him, you know, because he ditched man and that. But you know what it is with Ronaldo? Look, he came, you know, he started well, scored a few goals. It's not like anyone was saying anything bad around him. However, gradually, as he got into the team started to depend. The system started to more depend upon focal point around Ronaldo. You get me? So get Ronaldo the ball, give Ronaldo the ball. Everything had to go through Ronaldo. But you got to understand, some of them players that are there at United, they're not good enough to be putting them balls through to Ronaldo as well. I'm not saying Ronaldo's obviously the be-all and end-all and he's banging goals left, right and centre, but you got to look at the quality around him as well, the form of the players around him. And it's not just down to one man, innit? You know what I mean? But I hear what you're saying.
Let me clarify what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Ronaldo, performance-wise, footballing-wise, is the worst signing ever. I'm not saying he's come and performed badly. I'm talking about the impact that his arrival, whether it's directly him and his behaviour, whether it's his ego, whether it's his presence and the way that it's affected the power balance in the dressing room between the players and the managers, like the impact that's had on the dynamic and the vibe at United has been so detrimental. You know, before Ronaldo came in, we got to remember that part of what kind of seemed like was a good thing going on with Oli over there was that even though you had the egos of Pogba popping up and Fernandes, and you heard sometimes talk here and there, it seemed to be that he had this kind of like starting to build a little bit of like a camaraderie amongst the players. You know what I mean? Yeah. That there was this, he used to play for United, he gets it, and we're with him, and he backs us, and we back him. And, you know, going into last summer, United fans was feeling positive about this season, and kind of for good reason. You know, they built a bit of good momentum over a few seasons with Oli. They had a good squad, or what at the time looked like a good squad, with players that was kind of growing and developing, and they'd added a couple of people in, and there was not, it didn't look like things were going to take such a drastic turn. And I think Ronaldo was a big part of that, unfortunately. I'm not saying him as a player wasn't that, but the effect he's had on the dynamic and the ripple effect of him coming in, it's been unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it in the Premier League. The only person that's had that kind of impact at football clubs before is Mourinho. When Mourinho went
I do hear you, Tom. Like, I know what you're saying.
Ego, just destructive ego.
Yeah, it must have a negative impact on the players in the changing room, especially when they're looking up to United and my man switching at them and stuff like that. And then if you're getting told off by United that this is your idol that used to play at this club, you support United as well, especially for the younger lot. Obviously, it can take a toll on him. I just want to get some of these questions in quickly.
Yes.
So, would Conte basically have been a difference to the mentality if he was there from the start of the season for Spurs? So, rather than bringing him in, I'm guessing, in other words, rather than bringing him in later, if he was there from the start, it would have been a different situation.
So, the question is, would it have been a different team mentality? So, I think they would have maybe been in a different position. I think team mentality wise, in fairness, I don't think that there looks like there's too much wrong with the Tottenham team mentality at the moment. Like from the outside looking in, I'm not going to pretend to
like a yo-yo then.
Yeah, performance wise, yeah, but I'm not going to pretend to be super analysing Tottenham or looking at what's going on behind the scenes. But from what I see, even the little training clips and bits I see here and there seems to be, people seem to be feeling good. Kane seems to be feeling good again, kind of happy. Like the players seem to be enjoying the football again. We've not heard about too many fallings out. So I don't know if I'm taking the question wrong there in terms of different team mentality. I think he's instilled what he needed to instill in terms of the mentality and in terms of the togetherness. I think performance-wise and position-wise, I think they would be in a better place because I think he would have had more time. One, I think he would have done better in the first part of the season, but I think he would have had more time for players to get used to how he wants to play and how he wants to approach things. Okay, my bad. I meant Conte at United. So if Conte, in fairness, I think when I first read it out of the corner of my eye, I wondered whether you meant that. So had Conte been in from the start of the season at United when Ronaldo came in, would there have been a different team mentality? Would we have still seen this kind of all these issues that I'm saying, or would it have? And that is a good question, because maybe a manager whose kind of respect and clout could hold its own, in the face of a Ronaldo, a Pogba, some of these other players, would have prevented some of the undermining that seemed to happen. Because it's not just what you were saying about Ronaldo having a go at the players. It's also what happens when you're Elanga or you're Rashford or you're whoever, and the manager's saying Ollie's saying some shit to the players, and then he walks off over there. And when he's out of earshot, Ronaldo's saying that's nonsense. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And now you don't know whether to feel good or bad about what Ronaldo said. You don't know whether to trust what Ollie says next. It starts to plant seeds of doubt. Now the next time Ollie says something that you're 100% sure about, you don't really know whether to listen or commit to it 100% because you've got Ronaldo's voice in the back of your head saying, this guy don't know what he's talking about. I don't know whether those seeds of doubt could have been planted so easily if Conte is there. I think not only does Conte have the clout to be able to tell Ronaldo, no, you're on the bench, sit on the bench, like you'll come on when you come on, because his name carries that weight. But also I think he has the kind of clout where if Ronaldo was throwing his toys out the pram and saying, oh, this guy don't know what he's doing, players are going to be inclined to think, he seemed to know what he was doing at Chelsea and at Inter and at the rest of the place. So, things could have been different, and I think in a way we said this as well, didn't we, last time we were speaking on the weekend, that if United had that ruthless Abramovich mentality, they probably would have got rid of Ollie last summer, even though he'd earned every right to have another season.
Yeah,
which is where I come to times with you guys and Arteta, and your people get onto you about being brutal with Arteta, and you've said if he gets fourth, he should get another season. But I've said on record that I almost feel like if Arsenal get fourth, there's something to be said for if there's another manager in the marketplace that has the experience, unless they really know behind the scenes and can see reasons to believe that Arteta is building something special. There's something to be said for making brutal decisions while things are moving upwards. Because otherwise, you're trying to stop the slide, which is what United are trying to do now, mid-season, bringing Mannikin, whatever, and they're trying to do, bringing Lampard in. You're trying to make decisions when things are already, the momentum's already going in the wrong direction.
Let me just get some of these questions in as well.
Yeah,
and these before they roll off, yeah, and a man don't know us, so I'm not technical with it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll quickly do. Just my quick answer to that as well, yeah, for the United side of things. I think if United got Conte in from the start, I think he would have been doing a miles better job than where they are right now. A, because, like I said, is the mentality of the man. B, United would have backed him in the start of the transfer window to bring the players that he wanted to, which would have automatically changed the mentality of the players anyway. I think the downside of Conte going to United, and also if he came to an Arsenal as well, will be the style of football. And I think that's something that you've got to give in order to win some sort of trophies, or if that's the direction you are going. Because I think, bro, you can't really compare Conte going in at Tottenham and Conte going in at United, because even though United make dumb decisions, they spend money. Daniel Levy ain't trying to spend no money nowhere. You get me, bro?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, next one.
I like this one. I like this question.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get top 4? And do you think top 4 will be good for us?
The second part in particular, I want to know your thoughts on.
Well, I'll answer all of it. So the first one, I'll be honest with you. At the moment, looking at the table, I wouldn't say I'm 100% confident of getting top 4, but we're in a good position to get top 4. Every game that goes by and every win that we get, more confident I do get, but still I'm just thinking with my feet on the floor and not really trying to get too excited, because like I've said before, man's a realist. We've been let down many times. That doesn't mean I'm not supporting my team and don't believe in my team. It's just going off experience. Obviously the Premier League's a very tricky league, most competitive league, and anything can happen, you get me? And if we do get top 4, will it be good for us? Of course it'll be good for us, because we've been out the Champions League for 5 years. You get me? People are going to even forget who we are in a certain sense. You get me? I think since RB Leipzig's been playing in the Champions League, they have not even come across Arsenal in the group stages or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's a madness. Yeah. So it would definitely do good for especially attracting players and stuff like that. But it can't just stop there. You get me, Tom? It's got to push on. We can't just stop there. Let me answer this quickly. DM me on Instagram, and obviously we'll talk or try pattern something up for you, Mike.
What about Sheriff's question? That's another Arsenal question. Which 3 players would you sign for Arsenal if you were in charge? I'm guessing he means realistically, not just like, De Bruyne.
No, obviously, realistically. No, realistically, I'd go for, obviously I'd want to sign more players in it, but if I had 3 players I'd go for a Frank Kessie to play alongside Partey, because I think we definitely need to upgrade on.
I like that. 100%.
Up front, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because I will bring 2 players in up front, but obviously I'm just going to go 2 players up front, because we're going to need, I think that will make the biggest impact to our team. I think I'll take Dominic Calvert-Lewin as like a second choice striker, because it gives us a second option. It gives us a different option, someone that's not afraid to put their head on the ball, someone with Premier League experience, someone strong, powerful. You get me? So that will fit the mold, like kind of like a Giroud kind of player that we had. And then up front, I'd try to go in and get Lautaro Martinez.
I like it.
Why couldn't we do that?
I like it. They're all signings that you feel like if Arsenal really went out with intent in summer, especially if you get top 4, they should be able to get all 4 of those through the door, all 3 of those through the door. So I like that. They need to get you on the payroll.
Get me, man. Fucking, it's not even that, bro. It's just common sense, isn't it? Like people that are footballing, people that watch football, you get me? You can look at players and think, Ras, that player would have fit our system and play that player. Because to be honest with you, up until about say 10 games ago, I was struggling to see the style of play that Arsenal was playing with. It just looked like one style of play, and that was get the ball, whip it into the box, hope for the best. But I think that Odegaard coming into his own now and really starting to find his feet in the Premier League, I think that's become a massive help, especially in midfield, because we were lacking creativity, and he stepped up.
What about Ndidi?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking Ndidi, but I'd like Kessie more, because I think he's a powerhouse, man, and he gives you something else, bro.
There's something to be there's something to be said for like kind of knowing like archetypes from when your team was at their best years ago. Do you know what I mean? And even if your team's a different team today, knowing that having someone in that Vieira mold, do you know what I mean? Is a component of success. Like I think that Kante at Chelsea and Makelele at Chelsea, it's not a coincidence that you have these two, you know, quite similar in certain ways, kind of, you know, short, compact, incredibly influential defensive midfielders in two kind of totally different areas and totally different Chelsea teams, but kind of impactful and successful. You know, and SEN to some extent in that other Chelsea kind of
wonderful player, Mikel Essien. I'm telling you,
all three of those are just like,
does he?
Oh, no way. But you know, all three of those are in that top class of kind of defensive minded centre midfielders and you know, bring a similar kind of vibe to the team. And I think that Arsenal in the same regard,
as well. Exactly, like he's that guy in it, the main
Kante.
guy. Out of all
that's what I'm saying. Kante, Makelele, Essien, they've had through different eras someone that represents that thing on the pitch for him. And I think for Arsenal, you know, if you look back to them best Arsenal teams, there's something to be said for not going and picking out every position for who that used to be. And certain people you can't replace. Henry is unreplaceable. There is no one in world football like Henry. And if there is, Arsenal can't buy him. But a Vieira,
Why are you trying to mock man? Because you got a lot.
I'm not. I don't think. Because
I know you're right. We can't buy. I just don't like hearing that shit. You get me?
Well, to be fair, what I thought was the only person I could think that's even in that same breath is probably an Mbappe, and he's not going anywhere. Probably it's not from the City.
You know what though, Tom? I must say, see Saka, yeah, that kid's unbelievable, bro. And I might be going out on a limb, but I'm telling you now, yeah, he's gonna be world class. I don't mind putting my neck out.
He's almost in that conversation. He's just not proving it. Yeah, 100%.
And like when I say people hear me like compare him to Mbappe, I'm not comparing him to his quality of Mbappe now. But what I'm saying is a player like Saka, at the age of Saka, he should be inspiring to be like a player like Mbappe, have them ambitions like Mbappe, be talked about like the greatest players and want to be in that bracket and soak up the pressure and take it on his shoulders. That's all I say, because he is one of them players that can do that, can cope with it. And if you're he's been in the Premier League for the best part of 3 seasons now at a very tender age. He's got enough game time under his belt. I want to see, obviously I'm not saying I want to see more from him because he's providing us with everything that we need to see, but I want to see people putting some more respect on his name now. People actually speaking about him in the right breath. You got to think about it. This is a kid who kept the likes of Grealish and Sancho out of the England squad, but yet he don't get the props that he deserves, bro. And this guy is unbelievable, man. Likewise, Martinelli, another brilliant goal. Both of them scored absolute bangers. You get me? Obviously, I thought Martinelli was a little bit slow coming into the game, but he eventually grew into it, and he proved his worth, you know.
And credit to Arteta as well, because, you know, I'm not saying that Arteta gets the credit for how good these players are. That's their credit to hold. But, you know, he has done a really good job of not only bringing them into, you know, first team football but kind of almost building a team around these players and around that and a style that suits those players.
He didn't really bring Saka in though, you know what I mean? Like
he gave him his debut, didn't he?
Arteta give Saka?
Did he not?
Oh, you mad?
Who gave him his debut?
Wenger gave him his debut.
Saka?
Yeah, Bukayo Saka.
No, but he didn't. How many minutes did he get under Wenger? He didn't. He weren't like being brought in properly.
Unai Emery brought him in, innit? Unai Emery.
Okay.
Yeah. But Saka, he had a few games under Wenger. Do you know what I mean? Wenger seen the talent. This is what I'm trying to say. When they said Wenger, you were surprised, innit? Because it's a long time ago. It feels now.
You know what it was? I'm trying to think who it was the other day. There was a pundit the other day that was talking about a game.
Emery, but I'm sure he came on.
There was somebody that was talking about a game when Martin
under Wenger, I'm sure.
I think it was I can't remember who it was, an Arsenal pundit that recently was talking about Arteta, a game when Arteta had brought in Saka, Smith Rowe, and Martinelli when you had a load of injuries and kind of brought them all in against when Arsenal were playing United, I think, maybe, or Liverpool. In a big game, he brought them in from the start, and you know, they all performed and played well, and I think, I feel like it's under Arteta that they've been really given the responsibility and the position to say these are your positions, and you know, and done it in a way where it's like not put pressure on him. I guess that's what I meant. That, you know, he's managed to make them like focal points of the team without it doing that thing that we usually do with young talented English players, where it's like all of a sudden there's loads of pressure and then they fall under the pressure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Emery brought. Yeah, look, he was on the bench with Wenger, but it was it was Lundberg. Yeah, here we go. Lundberg, he's the man, really. He brought most of them through. You got to think, see, Tommy, what you were just saying then as well. See, with Arteta, yeah, I do give him credit for obviously, you know, picking players like Tomiyasu and Ramsdale, players that obviously we didn't know about, and he's come through. But you got to think, see, like Emil Smith-Rowe and Martinelli's hand got forced playing these guys. It's not like it was his initial plan to bring these guys on. His hand got forced, didn't it? So let's see what Kish is saying. Kish is in the chat. Gary Neville brought Saka for and managed England with. You know what? Did you see Micah Richards going in at Gary Neville?
Yeah.
When I set off from yours, I come back, and I just end up getting on YouTube and looking up on a few bits. And I'm telling you, bro, it was funny. Absolutely stuck it all over him. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I love Mika. I love Gary as well, to be fair. I've got to say, like, I never thought I'd say
I love Roy. I think Roy is funny as fuck, and he's the man. He just says it exactly as it is, you know. But you got to love Roy Keane for the way he is. But yeah, I'm just gonna bring up the Premier League table, so just so we can see where we stand, because Liverpool beat West Ham, and to be honest with you, Tom, I thought that Liverpool were very, very lucky to get that win. Get me? It looked like West Ham threw that game to me. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how they didn't get a point out of that game. Do you know what I'm saying? So let's just bring up the table here just to show the people then what's going on. So City, obviously leading the top of the way, but it's close there, Tom. Look, 3 points. If Liverpool get their game in hand, they're only 3 points off.
Yeah, I mean, we got a better run in than them. It's not. I mean, it's by all means, it's not home and dry. Do you know what I mean? And it will be close. And all it would take would be for a little City wobble, for Liverpool to get into one of them modes that they can get on. They can get into a mode with Klopp where if they get ahead, City dropped a few points and they get ahead, they can get into a mode where they just go then and they don't let up. I just don't think that Liverpool's performances have been at a level where it seems like they're going to be able to get the amount of points they'd need to from the games they've got left to beat whatever City's return is going to be. Like, realistically, City have got it in them to win, you know, all but one of their last games, let's say. That if City did that, then that would be the title tied up. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to come down to Liverpool City game, you know. I think that's where it's going to come down to.
Well, you say that, but City could afford to lose that game and still win the title. So that's a buffer that we've got at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not saying that we want to do that.
It's one of them, innit, though,
because at the Etihad.
I can't see. Yeah,
I need to see. Is it at the Etihad? I think it's at the Etihad.
I haven't followed. Obviously, I don't really follow Liverpool and City like that to that extent. But what I'm saying is, though, like, it might come down to that game where it'll just be, you know, Liverpool might be 2 points off City, and that's a deciding game, because you got to think about it. They're not really far off at all, innit? Win that game in hand, you're 3 points away.
You're asking for them to be 2 points off City. You're asking us to drop points against either Crystal Palace or Southampton or Burnley, because those are the 3 games we've got before then. So that can happen.
No, but I'm just talking about in a bigger scale of things. I'm not talking about just the run up until you play Liverpool. I'm talking about that game could potentially be a deciding game, whether, say, even towards the end of the season, if you win that game or not, that could be a deciding factor whether you win the title.
Oh yeah, of course, that's going to be a factor when it's this close, and when that's your closest rival. Then them head-to-head games are like six point swingers, isn't it? Like, because you're dropping 3 points and they're gaining 3 points. I think it's at the Etihad, you know, which is in Brighton to beat Liverpool next game. You heard it from me first. Yo, I could see it, man. Like, Liverpool haven't been. Don't get me wrong. We don't want to get too gassed, because this can happen in the title race. You know, City just scraped past Everton the week before. Neville's a donut, said United could get fourth still. Arsenal got this easy. I think Arsenal have got it, but United could still get it. Yo, don't be surprised. Arsenal fans will be cursing if Conte just puts a run together and Tottenham get fourth. Tottenham fans
Each had rather City than Liverpool.
every day. Yeah, I think probably with the running that City have got compared to the running that Liverpool have got, I think, you know, they've got Brighton away, then they've got Arsenal away. You guys, you know, hopefully will turn up and won't just roll over. Then they've still got to play United, that's been postponed. They've got City away. They've still got the derby against Everton, and Everton are going to be fighting to stay up. Like, they got a lot of super hard games. Do you know what I mean? Like, big, difficult games.
They got
packed. Do you know what I mean? And they got Tottenham, bro. They've got a lot of difficult games. So I don't know, man.
Everton to go down with Fat Frank, Tom.
I hope not, man. I hope not.
Tom loves Frank Lampard.
I do. I fuck with Frank. I'm not gonna lie. I fuck with him. Yeah. I think
he wants him to manage City after Guardiola goes.
No, I don't know about that. But I think with Frank, I said when he first came in, I said he just needs to not get relegated this season and get through to summer. You know, I think for any manager that's coming into a club that's on a slide, same way with Ranić, he just needs to not get relegated this year with United and get through to summer. Do you know what I mean?
He's only lost twice, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, in all the madness that's gone on around United, to hear that he's only lost twice is.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure, man.
They must have won a lot of games with losing performances because they've looked shit for a while. They've drawn a lot, haven't they? They must have drawn a lot.
Draws.
You know what I mean? Draws are losses when you go.
Yeah, I like this one. Frank about to be sacked twice in 1 year.
Everton won't sack Frank. That's mad. To sack my man in the relegation running. Yeah, then that would be crazy. And to be honest with you, if they do go down with him, you know, he's had experience with Derby coming up anyway, so he wouldn't be the worst guy to do some in the Championship. But I think he'll be okay. I think Leeds will go down. Or Burnley. Obviously, Burnley are probably the favourites of those three to go down. But I think if Burnley do pull off the, you know, the escape, then I think Leeds will be the ones to go. Brentford look like Eriksen's been enough of a. I want to just put it on Eriksen, but he, you know, little players like that make the difference in these kind of relegation battles, and he looks like he's going to be enough.
Most definitely quality player in that. But
do you think Arsenal should have been in for him?
He's Christian Eriksen.
Yeah.
Nah, you're mad, bro.
You want to tuck him because he's ex-Tottenham.
Nah, well, obviously he's fucking. I'll be honest with you, innit? Like, he's obviously like after his injury and all of that, bro. Can't like.
Don't get cancelled, bro.
That is just one of them. First of all, he's ex-Tottenham. I think he was a wonderful player, bro. I can't say
he was.
But obviously, ex-Tottenham, and he's past his best. And plus, after the injury that he did have, obviously, he's a risk. Mate. Just imagine you're at the game one day and he's ends up something like that happens there. Obviously, you've got to live with that. Do you know what I mean? So it's a madness.
I think the little head movement, you know, he ends up just, you know.
No, but it's dangerous. Look at Fabrice Mwamba, man. Like, that was a serious situation, bro. And
Mark Vivian Foe, rest in peace, the City player that died on the pitch.
I tell you, man, I remember at Main Road when all the flowers and that was put down, and it was a mad scenes outside, man. He's just coming out onto man's road and the flowers. Serious, it was crazy. But so do you think City are they walked away with it fully?
No, I don't think we'll walk away with it.
It looks like Liverpool are just dead it off.
I don't think we'll walk away with it. And the more we talk about it, the more anxious it makes me feel. But I just think that if Liverpool win the title this year, then they bloody deserve it because they've got a way harder run in than us. Like, they've got a lot of difficult games to win in that running. Whereas our running, really, every single one of them games is games that we should be winning. Do you know what I mean? We've got Crystal Palace away, Brighton at home, Southampton, Burnley away, Liverpool at home, Wolves away, Watford at home, Leeds away, Newcastle at home, West Ham away, and Aston Villa at home. Like, there's not many like standout difficult games there. You could drop points against any of them, and I've heard a couple of people say if it's like neck and neck on the last day of the season, then Gerrard is going to do everything he can with Aston Villa to try and, you know, he's going to be going into that last game like he's set to win the league. Do you know what I mean? But they're all should win games. You know what I mean? Barring maybe Liverpool. Well, even Liverpool at home, City will be the favourites. But that's the one that you could see a good chance of City losing. But the rest of them, it's an upset if City drop points. I didn't feel like that when we were just reading out Liverpool's running. There was a lot of games where it can just happen. If Everton are fighting for their life, and then they got to come up against Liverpool in the derby.
If you just got beat by deadbeat Tottenham, anything can happen, innit? So,
mate,
you know what I mean?
Don't be surprised if it comes to the end. Have you still played Tottenham again this season?
I think it's City's. I'm not going to lie. I think it's City's, but I think Liverpool are going to push as hard. I think it's all going to come down to the Champions League as well, how far each team gets in the Champions League. And I think it might determine the Premier League most definitely, because you got to think about it. These Liverpool players, they won the Premier League and they couldn't lift the trophy in front of the fans. Get me?
Yeah.
They won the Champions League. City haven't won the Champions League. Their players haven't won the Champions League. Most of them, if not all of them. So you don't know where their focuses are going to be. You get me? It might come to the last couple of games of the season. They might be in the semi-final. And obviously, I know City fans and probably City themselves would more than likely want to win the Champions League. Obviously, I'm not saying they won't want to win the Premier League. They will, but it's something you haven't won in it. So that could become a distraction, I think. I just want to answer that. I'll take Pep Guardiola for sure, definitely.
Yeah,
that'll be my choice. I can't get him. I'll take Klopp in it. For me, two best managers in the world. And you can't really argue with him because they've been popping it. But yeah,
I'd love to see Simeone in the league.
Oh, Simeone, you see when that fourth official just got clapped by Simeone. I swear down, I didn't even see the game.
Just
I was on Instagram scrolling, All I see now, I just see Simeone must be getting mad on the pitch. Get me on what's going on. The fourth official standing next to him. The guy just turned around to the fourth official and slapped him in his arm. You get me? Sent him flying.
Yeah. Funny, what's Kish talking about? Serious Pep over Klopp?
Yeah, definitely Pep over. The reason I like Pep as well, because I've always
wanted a manager.
I've always wanted Pep anyway since Wenger days and that, when we played Barcelona and Pep come out and said, he'd manage Arsenal because of the style of play and stuff. Yeah. I think he'd just be best suited for our style of play, man. And he's quality, man. Look what he's won.
I think Pep is like what we was like with Fergie. Like when we was here, he was so good and he was so dominant that we all just hated him and wanted to just find a way to chat shit about him. But when he's gone, man will look back and say, how are we even disrespecting him, putting these other guys in the same sentence with him? No disrespect to Klopp because he's a manager, but he don't deserve to be in the same convo as Pep. Pep's in the Fergie convo. He's in that convo. Do you know what I mean? He's that guy.
Klopp's a quality manager. You can't say
he's a quality manager. Quality, top manager. Man talking about would they take Klopp over Pep? I don't think that should even be a conversation.
No, you can't. I've said Pep straight up in it. You have to have Pep in it. Like what he's won in the game is just it speaks for itself, and you can't really deny that in it because
and the style and the football that he's played. Yeah,
the teams that he's built as well. Exactly, like building teams. He's done. What's he saying now?
But these United fans are ready to his quality is world class, but I'm saying Klopp's better. Listen, I don't even want to get into this. It's gonna die. I'm having a good week. You know, these United fans are just wanting to try to find a way to draw me out. Let's get back to talking about United.
Do you know what? I don't even want to speak about United. I'm telling you, United is a madness, bro. Because when I speak about United, Joe, obviously I don't like United as a team anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard for me not to gloat at what's going on in it. But when you actually deep it, it's a pretty sad situation. It's not even sad. It's just a messed up situation that they're in, and it's not like we can actually laugh and take the piss out of it because how much better are we? And look at the situation we've been in for years. So,
but do you think you're in a better situation today, innit?
Yeah, but look, this is what I'm trying to say, Tom. It'd be a better situation if we finish fourth in it. But that fourth place has to get sealed in it. We can't just think, we're in pole position and we're going to get that fourth spot and get into the Champions League. Because if we don't get Champions League now, that's going to be a madness, bro. We've been knocked out of every cup, no Champions League, 8th twice in a row, and then God knows where we finish this season. So, you got to understand, if we get the Champions League,
Do you think that part of the thinking behind them is that deep? Sorry, man. Sorry, I'm joking, man. Do you think part of the thinking behind the Arsenal board and Edu and all these guys and the reluctance to like go out and splash big money on players and switch managers and all the different stuff that Arsenal aren't doing that we've kind of been asking them to do. In fairness, United have been doing and hasn't yielded results. Do you think that part of that thinking is based on the idea that if Arsenal didn't get top four, let's say Arsenal and United both didn't get top four this season. Let's say Arsenal came fifth, United came sixth, and Tottenham got fourth. That is a much, really, if we're objectively speaking, that's a much worse situation for United on a business level because of the amount of money that's been put in. From an Arsenal point of view, whilst as a fan, that's you're absolutely right and valid to say this is a failure for us and it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. From a business point of view, they look at that and say, well, we haven't thrown major money at this.
Bro, we spent the most money in Europe this season, bro.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in the construction of this team. Do you know what I mean? We're not hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds deep on this team, and we're not
250 million.
Yeah, that's nothing compared to what United have spent. Do you know what I mean?
No, but that's still a lot of money though for Arsenal.
It's money. But what I'm saying is,
it's a bad thing.
I'm just saying, if you don't get top four and you spend 700 million or something, and you've got big boy wages on top of that, you're looking like you need a clear out. If you don't get top four, I'm not going to be calling for a full clear out at Arsenal. I'll be calling for a clear out of some guys and for some additions and maybe for the manager to go. But I'm not going to be calling to get rid of your 5-6 top salaried, top valued player. Like at United, we're talking about. You might have to get rid of Ronaldo, Pogba, like big name guys. You know what I mean? So I think in a lot of ways, even if you both didn't get top four, you'd rather be Arsenal than United right now.
No, I'll always rather be Arsenal than United.
Well, obviously, it goes without saying. But
I don't want that podcast in my mind. But do you know what it is though as well, Tom?
Yeah.
It's just, it's a strange, football's mad because it does work in cycles. Like when we were growing up, man, like them Arsenal United games, bro, they were just... I couldn't wait to watch them and the stick. It was sick. Now it's like Ras. We're just both teams are depleted.
Like they're Southampton versus Villa or something.
I don't be mocking it. Yeah, even though you'll use a winning shit, you can still never be as big as us. You get me? So you need to stay in your lane. You get me? You want to pray Fergie.
Chat to me in 10 years.
You want to pray Pep stays another 10 years so you can start competing with the level of us.
Yeah.
And if you don't, do you know what I mean? And you can't even give us anything because you haven't even won the Champions League yet either. Like we haven't. So
you haven't either, innit? Exactly. I was about to say,
still, and so you know what I'm saying, bro. All I know is it hurts, and as an Arsenal fan, it hurts that we're not competing for shit anymore, and it's been hurting for fucking more than 10, 15 years, bro. So all I want to do is I want to see a change. I want to see some positivity. And you know what? I'm not deluded. Over the last 10 games, eight wins in the last 10, stuff is starting to look a little bit positive, starting to see a little bit more of a style of play, starting to see some more positivity. But yeah, you got to get over the line and get fourth spot for me in it. So that's where I got to leave it with Arsenal because these man will end up just getting me sucked right in, and then I'll just be unfolding, unpacking everything.
I know, because we don't really want to touch on it, but we did say before the stream today, like it's maybe we can save it for another day to really get into it. But that more general conversation about as a fan, where is the line between kind of realistic and negative, and managing expectations and negative, and actually. Is it important within the fan base to have, a section of fans or a large proportion of the fans that are kind of keeping everyone's feet on the ground? I know when you went on AFTV the other day, you were causing us quite a stir, in the comments. There was a lot of people saying, we fuck with what you're saying. There's also a lot of people that were like, calling you out for being negative and saying they don't want to hear that. But especially where Arsenal are at today, do you feel like there needs to be a balance, or do you feel like people need to be thinking like I'm thinking, or do you think, do you?
Honest opinion. I hear what you're saying. I actually hear, but my honest opinion is, first of all, I don't give a fuck what people think about me. Yeah, that's my honest opinion, innit? Like that is just it. You get me? If you got something to say to me, you got a real issue with me, message me, come meet me. We can talk about it and see what's what. I don't give a fuck. At the end of the day, I got my opinion. You get me? And I got high standards because I don't want Arsenal to be playing in the Premier League, participating in the competition, just to make up numbers. I want to see us, winning shit. And if we're not winning shit, at least be competing. You get me, bro? And I think as a fan, that's not really too much to ask for when you've got one of the biggest clubs in England, the biggest club in London, makes silly money. You're paying the most money for season tickets and fucking hot dogs, bro, than anybody else. Now, a big man thing.
Yeah, it's important.
So why should our standards be on the same kind of level as a Leeds Football Club and all that? Because we're a massive world name. We should be up there. Chances, that's my standards of where the football club is. In reality, we're nowhere near there. And this is why I sit there and think, if we don't get that top 4 now, it's gone for Arteta for me. For me, after the first 3 games of the season, bro, I had it with him from then, bro, because I was thinking, what? Finished 8th twice, and we've got no points after 3 games, bro. That's a madness. Give credit to him. You know, he's turned things around a little bit. You know, obviously, man's not daft. I can see what's what. He's turned things around. Obviously, performances were dead, even though he was getting a few results. Now he started to get better performances out the players that he's especially brought now and incorporating into the team. But it's just certain decisions that still make me think he's too inexperienced to run an organisation the size of Arsenal Football Club just at this time in his career. I'm not saying that he might not be a great manager in the future, but you got to think we've been suffering for 15 years, bro. We don't need to come in and give Arteta another 10 years to think, oh, this guy's going to get by and suffer for another 10 years.
Yeah, some apprenticeship program. Yeah,
exactly, bro. Say we don't get top 4 this season, that's 3 years he's been here, 2.5 years he's been here, 3 years, 3 seasons. You get me? That'll be 3 seasons, 2 8 finishes, and then wherever he comes, you get me? If we get out of top 4, then our next season, our target could be, get top 4. We get top 4, that's 4 seasons in, he's got top 4. So we're going to have to wait 5, 6 seasons to even think about challenging. Does that make sense? Where if he does get it now, you get me? As a club, you got to think smart. If he does get it now, fair enough. Give him that opportunity to go and see if he can challenge and compete with the best 2 teams in the league, City and United. I mean, not United. And do you know what I mean? You speak about United so much, You got United in my mind. City and Liverpool, Give him that opportunity, and see if he can do it. Come December, you're nowhere near them. You're not in the top 4, and you're looking like you're struggling to get back in that 4th, just like last season. Man needs to go, bro, because there's no development. That we're just back to where we are. You're forgetting we sacked Wenger because everyone was complaining. My man got 4th. You got to understand that. You got to really deep it. That's why he got sacked. So my standards, bro.
We've got stay set from them.
It's just it's realistic as well. It is actually realistic what I'm saying. Like, that is not unfair what I'm actually saying. If he gets 4, keep him. If he doesn't, build on what he has brought in so far. You get me? Get another manager in and build on what's there right now, because it's not all turmoil. It's not all bad. There is positive signs, and you can see certain aspects. You can see certain aspects of Arteta's mentality that has helped these players. But if that's going to say he's going to be the right man, that's going to win us the thing. The comments are mad, innit?
I know, deep saying you got the EDNA.
You know what I mean? But that's where I stand on the whole situation, Tom. But look,
it makes sense, and I think that was clear how you put it. Do you know what I mean? And the challenge, in a way, for Arsenal now, after manoeuvring themselves into a good position, is how if things don't go right, don't just go smoothly right with Arteta, let's say, how do we avoid a situation like what's happened with United and Ole? Because where Arsenal are at now with Arteta, if they get 4th, is kind of like where it's a bit different. You know, I know United had a bit of a better time under Mourinho than United, but then Arsenal, had a couple good years in the past with Emery and stuff like that, where they've won things and whatever. So, but long story short, it kind of feels like where you're at with Arteta today is maybe similar to where United fans were at a year ago-ish with Ole, where it's like we just start to feel like there might be something getting built here, and we might be about to get a foothold back in the top 4 and maybe the top 3 and be able to start competing, and then either not making the right decision soon enough or then making it too soon. they've kind of ended up back where they started. So that's the really difficult thing for Arsenal now, is like not jumping the gun on Arteta and getting rid of him too soon if he is the right man, but also not overstaying his welcome and then missing the chance and then being back to the start again. Do you know what I mean? And obviously I don't get paid enough or know enough to know when that moment will be and whether he's the right guy for it. But I think the fact that you're keeping an eye on the situation and are able to question him without being, I think people interpret what you're saying as like as if you're just Arteta out every day of the week, which is not the case and has never been the case. Do you know what I mean? You've been Arteta out at times when that felt like the right decision. You probably say now, in hindsight, having given him the time and things turned out well and seeing what happened with Ollie out, that it probably wouldn't have been the right decision to sack Arteta when man was saying Arteta out. You know, you can hold your hands up and say that. That doesn't mean that
I would have sacked Arteta then. I still stand by it. I would have sacked him and brought Conte in. That's what I would have done. I would have sacked him.
But what? You would have had an Ollie situation. I was trying to get you out of the mud there.
To tell you why I would have sacked him and brought Conte in, because that's what a big club would have done. Sacked his ass.
That's what United did. Look at them.
First 3 games of the season, sacked his ass, brought Conte in, give him the money to spend, obviously, but he couldn't have because it was first 3 games anyway. But do you know what I mean? Like, give him the January, give him, trust me, bro, Conte would have done a lot better with our team than what Arteta does. And just this comment here, Premsy, we have done better than expected with this manager. Top 4 is in our hands. Look at that, for example. We have done better than expected with this manager. So why the fuck are we hiring a manager that we're not expecting to even get top 4, bro? That is a mad thing, do you not think?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that
that is mad.
I'm just saying that you can't, like, you've got in United, you've got like a fucking petri dish to be able to see an experiment of what could have happened if you managed jumped the gun and got rid of a manager halfway through the season. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about which manager is better. It's not FIFA where you can just switch people out and there's no impact on morale, or like we don't know what the impact of sacking Arteta would have been on players, on a Saka, on the dynamic. Like same way we've seen with United, Ollie going has clearly impacted a lot of people and a lot of players and impacted the dressing room. So maybe there was something in that from the board in terms of stick with Arteta, get through the season, hope that it comes good. It has come good. My question is whether, if you had them doubts then, even if he's come good enough to get top 4, maybe the time to sack him is at the end of the year. Let him get top 4 and then sack him. Give him the chop at summertime and get someone else in.
See, this comment here, obviously this is with Kish here, but this comment here, just a quick one here. Spurs have done what you want Arsenal to do, and look how dead they are. The difference between Spurs and us, the quality that we have in our team over Spurs, I think is miles better. I think our team is much better than Spurs, and I think that Conte would have come into an Arsenal team and he would have done miles better with the players that we had, the players like Aubameyangs and the Ozils and players like that. Obviously, this is just talk about from like in the general context. You'd be able to manage them egos, bring in players. You get me? Obviously, at Tottenham, bro, Tottenham make everyone shit. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who goes there.
You think Arsenal have got a better squad than Tottenham right now?
Of course I do. Of course I do, bro. Of course
I do. We go through player for player.
Yeah, let's go through.
So, do you think obviously Kane and Son are what you take?
Yeah, I would say Kane and Son up front if we were to do like a 4-4-2 in it. Say we used to do that. Maybe.
Yeah, or what's Arsenal's formation at the moment? 4-3-3.
Or we could put Son on the left because I like Son, bro.
So you take Son on the left, you take Kane down the middle, you take Saka on the right. In the other position. Okay. Yeah.
I'll have Odegaard in the middle as the centre attacking mid.
I forgot, just blanked on their midfield. I'm gonna have to get it up.
Get me, that's it. So dead, you can't remember who the attacking midfield is.
Who was in the Tottenham midfield when they beat City the other day? I'm gonna have a look while you're talking. Go on. So you'd have Odegaard in the middle. So Tottenham were playing Højbjerg. Yeah, it's not looking great. Højbjerg,
Bentancur, he's all right, Bentancur.
Emerson. Yeah, their team has fallen apart, hasn't it? Flipping out.
So you look at that and tell me, do you not think
Davis, Eric Dyer? Oh yeah, that team's terrible.
Exactly. So you're not telling me a Conte could come into our team with the players that we got and do a better job than what he's doing at Spurs. I personally believe that he can do that. You get me? Because this is a manager that we're we're looking at and disrespecting that's going to a Tottenham team with dead players that's getting results out. Yeah, but yet he beats a City team. Yet he's hardly spent any money or probably got promised the job based on signings that he hasn't actually received. And that's why man looks furious inside his fucking press conferences, because he's being promised something that he's not got, trying to get himself sacked.
You're probably right. I mean, don't get me wrong. City only just scraped past Arsenal. We only had that last minute winner against you on the 1st of January. But I know what you mean. Like, you do have a better squad than Tottenham. I mean, part of that, I would only say that this season because of the signings you brought in. When I'm looking at your squad now, it's because of the Tommy.
So basically, I just want to just say, So this guy here, Springer, because I know he's been in the chat for a while on previous. So the reason you think our team is better is because Arteta brought these players.
That's what I was just getting at. I'm looking at Tommy Asu. I'm looking at Ramsdale.
However, I'm not saying that the players that he's brought in this season have not been so great. But if you're comparing Arteta to a Conte as a manager, you want to give your head a wobble and a shake, because that is ridiculous. You can't compare Arteta to Conte. And we don't know if Conte was in there and got the same amount of money Arteta had. We don't know what kind of caliber of players will be playing for Arsenal Football Club right now, because you're forgetting Arteta didn't bring in Saka. He didn't bring in Martinelli. He didn't bring in Smith Rowe. You get me? And these are players now. He didn't bring in Lacazette. He didn't bring in these players. He might have brought in Tommy Asu, Ben White and that. Gabriel and whatnot. But he didn't bring in everybody. He brought in a certain amount of players. And at the moment, it looks like it's our young players that come from the academy that are doing things for us. Ramsdale's been doing okay. Looked a bit shaky in the last couple of games. Tommy Asu, top signing, but he's been injured for a bit. Do you know what I mean? So you can't say it. And you got to understand, Conte will be bringing absolute quality players to the club. All he's got to do is pick up the phone and ring a player and chat to them. And 9 out of 10, even if you're in the mud, that player's probably got respect to come and play for him. You get me? So I run all of that.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, I think Kish said something that was kind of a good point earlier on. In the
3 games, if you said take Conte from the jump, I agree. I don't get that.
I think Kish said earlier when we was having the Klopp Pep debate, he said something that I would probably, I give him a bit of credit for, in terms of, he said something like, if you've got, big dough to spend and you can really build something and you go with Pep, or if you're working on a bit of a budget, a billionaire budget like Liverpool, then Klopp's the guy. And I think that kind of speaks to the idea. Yes, big up comes in South Africa. That kind of speaks to the idea that sometimes, even if we can just take Conte and Arteta in isolation and look at them manager for manager, you're right, there's no comparison. But what we've seen with United, again, to go back to United, is that you take a manager, and no matter who that manager is, if you put the wrong manager in the wrong team or in a team at the wrong time, it doesn't necessarily equate to success. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it would have been the wrong time for Conte or that he wouldn't have worked at Arsenal. You've kind of convinced me that it could have been something good.
Obviously, I'm not saying 100% it can, but as logic has it, bro, this is a manager who's a proven winner. This is a manager who gets a team from the mud and makes them win shit. You get me? This is a manager that is very respected around the world. Probably to most people, he's the top 5 within the top 5 in the world to most people. So this is a manager that can change a situation at a club. You get me? If he has a little bit of time and money to do it. I'm not saying Arteta has done the worst job in the world. There's a lot of things that I don't like about Arteta. There's a lot of things that I think that I'm starting to grow on me on Arteta. You get me? But the bottom line of it is, we got rid of Wenger for getting 4th. You get me? This man got 8th twice.
The standards dropped. Yeah.
He's got 8th twice. Yeah, we're in 4th spot now, but let's keep our feet on the floor and see if we get that first, innit? Because football's a funny game, and a lot of these people here now, and a lot of people that listen to me and think, oh, if we don't get 4th, they're going to be, any of their head's going to start going. But my head won't go. It's not that I'm saying, I don't want us to. Of course I want us to want the best for my football club. You get me? But I'm trying to be as level-headed as I possibly can, because, these man let man down.
Flip-floppers. A lot of the man that are saying that you're negative, I know for a fact a lot of them would have been Wenger out, because most Arsenal fans were Wenger out, and I think as a City fan, and probably a lot of fans of other clubs around the league. Yes, I love my bro.
Up in the chat. Big up,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I felt for you, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. When I seen some of your reaction videos and stuff, I could see the pain, and that's not me.
You had your belly on yesterday, Big Six, and that you get me.
Yeah. The pain. Listen, I know the pain, Saeed. I've seen plenty of years of, getting beat and losing to United at a time when we weren't as good. But yeah, I think it's it's a process, isn't it? And like you said, a lot of these men were on the Wenger out campaign, and a lot of us that weren't at Arsenal were thinking, how could you ever have the disrespect to be chanting Wenger out to Wenger? Do you know who Wenger is? Do you know what I mean? Rushed him out the door, didn't give time for there to be a proper transition plan in place, and that was part of what started the run of things not working for a while afterwards. But I hope for Arsenal, I want Arsenal to be back up there competing. I want them to be back up there, and I want them to get back up there hopefully at some point with that Arsenal identity again. Remember back in the day when Arsenal as a club was so cool and had so much of a vibe that youths was rocking Arsenal t-shirts and jeans and that.
Total 90s.
Total 90s. Do you know what I mean? Man that didn't even support Arsenal had Arsenal tops, bro.
Do you know what it is, Tom? Look, man, it just hurts, man, because man's a winner, bro. Man just wants to see us pick up the big cups. You get me? We've not even won a Champions League, bro. You get me? Like, that's a mad thing. Like,
big
you got to understand, the Premier League's getting competitive now and that, but we were a club that was always reserved in spending money when we spent money, and we moved to the Emirates to compete with the likes of Bayern and these big teams and that. So how can our expectations not go higher when we've gone to this big ass stadium, big capacity, most expensive fucking tickets, most expensive everything, to then think, all right, you know what? Yeah, we'll be happy to get a man in here, wait 7-8 seasons to see if there's a possibility of him competing for the title, bro. You get me, bro? Tomorrow's not promised. Man can die tomorrow. You get me? I want to see shit now. You get me? I don't want to wait. I've had enough of waiting.
It's true. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who told these owners that new stadiums is part of the recipe for success. Like, I'm trying to think of any new stadium.
Money, though, that's the truth.
Yeah, it's more money for them, but in terms of success, like any of these new stadiums, like one, they never really seem to like a lot of time it doesn't seem to equate to success. But in terms of like atmosphere, like, bro, there's way more seats in the Etihad than Main Road. It'll never have the same atmosphere. You know what I mean? You think you could replace Anfield with flipping, Anfield B down the road and have that same atmosphere? It's not possible. The way they design these new stadiums with all the flipping, curved, wavy flipping roofs and all the rest of it, it's a sound trap or something. I don't know what it is, or it's too comfortable. I'm not sure what it is about these new stadiums, but the atmosphere is flat, bro. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't.
The atmosphere at the Emirates has been popping this season, Tom. I'm telling you, the way.
Yeah, obviously.
No, but normally it's dead, bro. Like, it's flat over the years. It's got flatter with the turmoil that the club's got in. But this season, obviously, I gotta give Arteta a bit, because obviously he's brought them players in that have connected to the fans. He has brought the right kind of players in, because I doubted most of the players that he was bringing in. Anyway, I tell you the truth, and obviously they have come good, but you can't just judge players on one season, innit? Because for me, I'm a bit more level-headed, and I think, you know what, we'll wait next season. If they can still produce the same goods that they're producing this season, then you can say, they're being a good
Champions League.
Yeah, and then you can say
Ben White and Tomiyasu look like who they look like when they're coming up against an Mbappe, and I think I like Tomiyasu. Don't get me wrong, that isn't me throwing shade. I really fuck with him, but that's going to be the test, innit? When man have got to defend against Neymar, defend against Mbappe, empty head. Man loved, bro. I've been in Old Trafford plenty of times over the years with seats galore, and I can hear man on the other side of the stadium. I could shout, Kish, yo, Kish, I'm parked in B4 on the far side of the stadium, and man will be like, yeah, bro, I hear you. Bro, quiet as a church mouse.
But yeah, man, we're gonna end up wrapping it up soon. We've been done like an hour and a half in almost now. Yo, I'm telling you, man needs to get on to getting burning my, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, but yo, people, peace out, everyone in the chat, man. Big up, love for all the comments, love for all the interaction. Make sure that you go in following 100%. Tom's Instagram. Obviously, he'll be setting up a YouTube channel shortly. I don't know when that is specifically is going to be, but it will be coming soon. So keep an eye out for that. Sure. Make sure you're liking, hitting the like button, subscribing, and make sure you're following. We are trying to get out one piece of content every week, people. So big up, peace out, 100%. And we'll see you on the next one.
Love.